over on AEW's YouTube page. We do not have wrestling matches on our show. I have been told by several people that we should add wrestling matches to our pre show.
You know what, guys? If we were making like millions of dollars in super chats and could pay Tony royalties, I would be totally fine with that. But Garrett has literally gotten and I mean, he obviously he does know some people because he's worked in media and this stuff forever. But he actually did get a few years ago. He told us a story about how he got flagged for something that he was just videoing for his Insta stories or whatever, outside of Reels for outside a AEW event, and he got a C&D.
We could cut to a match. Maybe we could get some. Maybe I could talk to Darius and we can get some Ashe wrestlers to put on a match for us.
Yeah, I thought about doing the same thing because I'm best friends with his kids and not him yet. It's hilarious because they and I keep meaning to send you the YouTube channels for Hugh TV and Brooklyn's World. They are amazing. You guys would love them. And they have like their own movie that they even won at like Kids Film Festival and all kinds of stuff. So they're great. And he did a spot at the last wrestling show. He was involved in it. So it would be fun. Cool.
Yes. Nikki said you have a fancy hat for the big pay-per-view.
Yes. I was telling your sis there that this hat can be very versatile. It was the first Renfer hat I ever purchased. So it was handmade by a vendor, folks. Not an AI, not a freaking Target. It was a handmade by a lady who came up with it her creative self. So
very cool. We love that. We love supporting that.
It was worth every penny, and I love it. I can do all kinds of stuff with it nowadays, and I have done stuff with it before. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, I was gonna bring the stupid slides in, and they decided to just not.
Yeah, because we our goal is to get you out of here before the pay-per-view starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's been a very long time since Mel and I have done a show that's been 2 hours or under. Our goal is to get it under so that you can already be out of here and watching the pay-per-view.
And we know full well 0 hours on right now. And I mean, I'm prepared if you guys are spoiling in the thing. I mean, it's obvious.
Well, there's only two matches for 0 hour, which means they're gonna be chatting a lot. I mean, I know last year that's where they did the Grado thing, so I won't be surprised if they bring him back or if they do something else. But that's where they did the Grado Jeff Jarrett thing last year. So
that's right. You're right. They were telling us. See, you were saying that we did this last year and we did end up going against it. And you were right because they were telling us about Grado.
Right.
It was because he swerved us again this year. Last year we started early and we were good for an hour and they started. This year he swerved us and literally started at the same time as us.
I knew this year they were starting at 11, but yeah, that's right. Last year he did swerve us. It was supposed to be at 12, and they all of a sudden, like the day before, they're like 11. But I was like, listen, we can.
It's because of you. I'm telling you, he knows. He got lucky this week, but it's not gonna be. He's not gonna get that lucky all the time.
No, that is true. So yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and get to the 0 hour. So because there's only two things. They announced one match last night during Collision, and as I don't know if we have a graphic for the other match that was announced.
I do actually, because I think God, I pulled it because hang on here, kiddos. Hang with me. I'm breaking kayfabe super duper hard. Yeah.
Nikki said she turned the Wrestle Ants on in the background, so Nikki can tell us. We have a live look at somebody who can help us. And if there's anything if there's any run-ins or anything like that, they're gonna put Anthony Ogogo and Kip Sabian on there like they did last year because they're British.
I do kind of love the idea though that there are multiple lady pre-shows going on.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Even if we're going head to head, like we're all created. That's this one, right? Did I get it right?
The one, as I said last night, this match is for the ROH girlies, because this is for the ROH girlies / the Collision Cowgirls, because The story is happening.
I need a cowboy hat so bad.
There's shout out to Lo, who is who from Wrestling Wind Down, who was on our show a few weeks ago, because she has new merch and she has one for the Collision Cowgirls. And so
I missed that one.
Yes, she's got a new one. She's got hats.
Her new drops are excellent.
Yeah, so please go check out Wrestling Wind Down. We were big fans of Lo and her merch. She also has a podcast as well. But she did that one a few weeks ago because obviously the Bang Bang Gang, it started with the Bang Bang Gang, and Jay White they were calling themselves the Collision Cowboys, and so now she made merch for the Collision Cowgirls. Yes, right there on Twitter and Instagram you can go find Lo and her stuff. But that's basically what this match is for, because it is mostly ROH people in this match, but they've been kind of spilling over into Collision as well. And so they announced it last night. Double champion Dustin Rhodes is in this match with his tag team partner Sammy Guevara, and also his trios partners, the Von Erichs. And then they are taking on. Oh, actually, I forgot that Shibata is in this match too. I forgot they added Shibata in last night, so this one
did add Shibata. I was
did, which obviously I'm glad Shibata's getting on. Well, no, Shibata has been involved. He's been involved. He wanted to learn how to use the Iron Claw at one of the tapings, and so now he does it, and he did it in his match last night.
Was it him that Kevin Von Erich gave it to?
Something
to him, and he like said that I believe that he actually taught him, and
I feel like I heard something.
He totally Japanesed it and like gave him the move. I think like to use. He like gave him his blessing to use it or something. It may not be Shibata, but pretty sure
Shibata did do something. I know that he learned, and like he learned a few weeks ago. However, he's been doing it. They taught him after. They taught him how to do it, and so he's been using it in his matches. He used it last night, so that's why. That's the Shibata connection to this match. And then they're against Undisputed Kingdom. So they, the Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes beat the Undisputed Kingdom at Battle of the Belts to become the Trios champion. So that's where this feud comes from. And then Cage of Agony, when they were part of Mogul Embassy with Swerve, they were Trios champions multiple times. And so that's where this whole thing comes. So again, this is why I say this match is for the ROH girlies and the Collision Cowgirls, because that's where this whole storyline has been taking place basically between these two shows. And so that's where this comes from. And
I love it. Well, that's good then. And I'm glad that, I mean, whatever, for everything else, we may as well have them on the pay-per-view since they're on the TV.
I am glad that they're on the pay-per-view, but then I see that and I'm like, you couldn't find space for Emmy to have a match.
You
couldn't put Emmy on.
We may have Lo design us when she does her customs a like Emmy Wembley thing, like bad bitches for Emmy for Wembley or something.
Yeah, right. That's a good idea. We might have to. Yeah, Lo, we might have to. We might be hitting you up.
Something in that vein, because
seriously, get Jeff Hawkins in on this. Get him a bad bitches for Emmy at Wembley.
I have almost like I would 99% sure even he would buy that, like happily.
We're gonna tell Lo like we're about to take 4 of your customs spots because and we're all gonna have the same design.
It'll be you and me and Jeff and Nikki, basically.
Yes.
At minimum.
At minimum. And if anybody else wants in on this, she does her customs quarterly. So I'm sure.
And I know Brad is on vacation with Kathy in Hershey, PA, which I did at their age, and that was a freaking fun vacation. So I don't mean to blow up his spot, but he's pretty much showing everyone.
I saw him. He tweeted a picture of him and Kathy. They were at his.
I mean, he's shown everyone. He's talked to everyone in the Discord. Anyone who would basically be listening to this or listening back to it knows anyway. But I saw that and was so excited for them because that was one of my favorite family like vacations all around. Because we go, and that's the Pennsylvania Ren Fest is right near there. It's
sweet.
Just started. I should have told him that. Because it's super family friendly. There is all family. There's like they're very specific about, like, this is a family-friendly show. We were actually shocked, like, because it's right in the program and the whole thing. Sorry, a little tangent here. Powerbombshells. And it just, but it would be, but I just remember I was like, oh, that's such a fun, that's so exciting. So.
Yes. So Nikki has informed the chat that a 16-man match just got announced for 0 Hour. And I'm going to read you the participants.
Oh,
because the group chat just, so Nikki said it in the chat and then the group chat sent the graphic to us. And so it is, oh, wow.
Where's the graphic? I need
So this graphic is Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Anthony Ogogo, because so the two Brits who got to be on the pre-show
up last night a little bit almost. Well, yeah, I mean Wednesday, but
so the two Brits who were on the pre-show last year finally made it to 0 Hour. Yes. So Arya Davari is in it. John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Private Party, Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, who was the other Brit who was on the pre-show last year, Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, who was just in Mexico on Friday, and then Leah Rush, Top Flight, and Action Andretti are in the 16-man tag match.
So, which makes total sense.
Thanks to Matthew who sent this in. Yes. Also, so is this just, I guess this is just a tag match to get everybody on the card, because there's, I assume there's no stakes to this match. I guess it's just which is, listen, get people on the card, especially because London's going to be looking a little different next year. So again,
I was a little bit like, oh, Tony and his cards. And then I was like, actually, this is a big show. Like, it is an extra set. Like, this is kind of got to be an extra large card, even more than usual pay-per-view. So I was just like, well, I was actually shocked putting together the slides that there were only 11 matches. So this is 12. I was like, he usually leans towards 13 to 15. I've done enough slideshows now where I was like, wait, am I missing some? But I pulled that list straight from Bleacher Report's most
and then I came in and
I
added the ROH match because it got announced last night. And I was like, I mean, if they're still announcing, well, no, that's 16 people. I was like, if they're still announcing the matches, maybe we'll get Emmy, but that's a 16-person match, so that's probably going to take some time. So,
well, but maybe her and Suzuki can come out and do their thing, and
there we go.
That'll be perfect. They need 16 freaking people.
Nikki says that Jeff Jarrett's jacket matches her red sequin dress,
which I'm just picturing, and Sam knows exactly what it looks like. So it's my imagination and her knowledge are both probably enjoying it. He was over, though. I mean, bless his heart. Whatever this, I mean, he was like, Cardiff loved Jeff Jarrett, man. Holy cow. They were freaking out. Ooh, Sam's checking the live updates for everybody as we move on here. Yes. I love it. You're like, oh man, we might get to our bold prediction sections, but
maybe. I was like, you know what? Since I have Twitter open, I'm just gonna send out a tweet real quick that says still no hashtag Emmy for Wembley.
Oh, good job. Thank you.
It's like, that's very important. I was like, the app's open. Let me send it out.
No, but yes, you know what?
So go ahead.
No, I'm glad. It's perfect.
Put it out there.
Definitely worth it.
And so this match that is on the card actually has the next match has some implications.
Here, hang on, let me get there.
Get that.
There. Oh, oops,
no, got that one.
Went the wrong way.
There we go. So sorry. Yes, this one is Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway are taking on Willow Nightingale and the hot one of the conglomeration, Ishii. And the winner of this match gets to pick the stipulation for Willow versus Chris at All Out on September the 7th. So this match has a little bit of stakes here. Last night we saw in Collision that Willow beat Harley Cameron, and then Chris and Stoke, there was a video of them training at Creative Pro, which is where she trained back in the day. MJF trained there. The Acclaim trained there. lot of wrestling talent has come out of that school. So they went and trained there. Then they had a match with Nina Samuels and Kid Lycos too. Nina Samuels was in NXT UK for a while, and I think she's still doing really well on the UK indie scene. So they had to have Chris get her out of the match real quick because Nina can actually go. Not that Kid Lycos can't either, but so they beat them in 58 seconds, I think, last night.
It seemed.
Yeah, I think that's.
I figured it was something in that vein.
Yeah, something like that. Nikki was like, I bet Stoke's hardly gonna wrestle. She was correct. She used Stoke as a weapon, basically used his body. She threw him on Kid Lycos, and that's how they pinned him. and they moved on. And then so that's what's setting us up for today. And then I loved though that they had Ishii came out on commentary for the conglomeration match, put headphones on, and then sat there with his arms crossed the entire time. Did not interact.
They gift him at commentary, and it's I need to definitely save it because it's definitely one for the gift.
Yes.
File.
Yes. And then they had. And so they went and Ishii got up afterwards, celebrated with the conglomeration, and then apparently went right back to commentary because he stayed for commentary for Willow's match, which was so cute. I mean, Willow went over there and she hugged him, and then she went and wrestled her match, and then he came and celebrated with her too, and then they went up the ramp together, which was adorable. And I love that Ishii and Willow are friends, and
I love this because of who he is and who she is, and the fact that he is actually, even this, he is able to sell like a master.
Yeah,
he's amazing. I said to Bob, I'm like, he's probably the nicest person in the world to his people. Like, he's probably just the sweetest. Yeah. And I had our friends over in Ireland, they were at a show that he was at, and one of them kept, every time he walked by him, he kept fist bumping him. And finally, after doing it like all night long, he got Ishii to like smirk at him and kind of give him a nod, and it was like, yes. And it was that when she and him got put together, I was like, oh, I can see this going.
Yeah, far. It's like, it reminds me, it's like Maki and Suzuki.
Yep.
Is what that reminds me of. It's that type of dynamic.
I love those. I love everything about those two.
Me too.
So great. That match was one of my matches of the year just because it's great. Just great. But yes. So these guys in this thing should be fun. It's interesting that Chris Statlander has become the evil girl boss thing she's doing, but
yeah.
All right.
Okay, I was just checking to see. I will get to it. There's a rumored match that's going to happen on the main card, and they were talking about it and asking if it was confirmed. But I don't believe this match is confirmed. I believe it's still a rumored match that may take place at some point on the card today. All right, so we will go ahead and get to the main card. And these are in no particular order. These are just whatever images pop up, because the only match that we know for sure is obviously the main event. We know that for sure, that order. But other than that, we will just talk about whatever pops up.
I pulled a list from Bleacher Report, so yeah. We'll call that
works.
Whatever we want. So this is the direction. And I can't wait for the graphic that you'll see after this one. But we'll start here.
I'm excited.
Well, just because it was the only one I could find and cracked me up. So this is what Bleacher Report said would be next. And
I would not be surprised if MJF opens, because he opened the last pay-per-view, and who was it in the chat was saying that if somebody said it the last time, that if MJF isn't closing a show, maybe it was it Jeremy? I think it was Jeremy said if MJF wasn't closing a show, then he would open a show, because and so I definitely could see. Yeah, I think it was Jeremy. Right. And so I could definitely see MJF opening the show, especially because this is a big match and you don't want this being too close to the main event. So I could see them, and that would be a really good bookend to have MJF and Will Ospreay bookend the show with with Swerve and Danielson. So I could definitely see this opening. So this match is for the AEW American / International Championship. MJF currently holds the American Championship. Should he retain, then obviously that is the title he will carry. But if Will Ospreay wins, it will go back to being the International Championship. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I think a lot of what, God, I'm so torn because this is like they'll get a ton of heat to start off, which is what they want. He's been walking around London in like capes with USA. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And part of me like feels like he might hang on to it, but I think right now, because they need to get Will in that picture, I think that they're going to get the belt back on Will and get him wrestling people more and giving him something, because you can't not have a belt on Will Ospreay if he's not going for the title. Like, MJF can do whatever. He can go bother somebody else. Like, Will can get the belt, because that belt was pretty well established by most of the people that held it well. And I mean, if we think about it, Pac did a great job. Orange Cassidy obviously elevated the belt.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for Will Ospreay. And it's just like the Okada thing. Like, they gave him that because he needs something.
Right.
He might win tonight, something. But I just feel like Max needs to go on to some other story. He's got other things that he could be building. And so I'm going to give this one to Ospreay for the ginormous, amazing, like blow the lid off the building. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards too. I think Ospreay is going to win it back so that he can get the hometown, pop for it. I think that's where they're going with this. And I think,
especially
like that belt, I think that was the whole plan for this, was MJF was going to drop it back here. MJF I saw a tweet come up from him earlier today, and he claims that his Dynamite Diamond ring has been stolen. So I don't know if this is going to play into something later on, if he is going to somehow have it, or if someone else will have it and bring it to him, perhaps. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind, that MJF is claiming this ring has been stolen. Or if he loses, he is going to be like, oh, it's because I didn't have my ring because somebody stole it from me. And then maybe Ospreay has it. Or maybe, I thought the same thing, Nikki. Nikki said Wardlow stole it.
That would be dope. And it would start a new storyline. There you go.
Well, Wardlow still has not gotten his receipts back from MJF nearly tanking his career 2 years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised. And Wardlow has not been seen for months. So perhaps this is how they bring him back. But just keep that in mind, that ring has supposedly been stolen, and that might come into play at some point for this match. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that too. And I think Ospreay's gonna win this. I think he's gonna get the big pop.
I think otherwise you're squandering it, and he needs.
Before we change, real quick. No, you can just leave that. But
no, I want to make.
I did want to say, well, maybe not now because of the casino gauntlet, but I wondered if Will Ospreay, this would be how, and I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, if this would be how they bring Mark Davis back, if he is cleared, because great. MJF has gone through all of Will's boys, including Michael Oku. Mark Davis him and Kyle Fletcher lived with Will Ospreay during the pandemic. If he is cleared, perhaps that's how they bring him back. Maybe he helps
Great O'Connor in there. Maybe the United Empire local.
Maybe Mark Davis stole that ring and is going to help Will win. So perhaps Mark Davis makes his return here, and then we figure out what we're doing with Aussie Open.
Him and the Great O'Con could come together and then start.
That is true. The Greatest O'Con is in town, so
and then make the whole United Empire like the new United Empire that lives in AEW, because I mean, crossover. Yes. I agree with you, Nikki. We all need Mark. I know
Davis that he's living his best life taking pottery classes, but I need him back.
Need him back. But
okay, now you can proceed.
Better. Anyway, yes, here we go. Next I have, this is literally the only freaking graphic I could find for the casino gauntlet match. I went, Oh. Yes, Stephen, all hail indeed. But this was it. So
yeah,
there you
that's
go.
all they're putting on there because we don't know who's in it other than
Right.
I think about Orange Cassidy won the match and he won that match on Dynamite. He is the number one. He's the first entrant. And then didn't they announce 3 other people for the Casino Gauntlet?
Somebody won last night. Won a spot in the match, but I can't remember who it was off the top of my head because I'm really great at this.
Let me see.
What was it?
Maybe somebody in the chat knows, but I can look it up real quick and see.
Is there any on the list that I pulled and wonder?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I assume, and it was weird because the people who Orange Cassidy beat, I assume are in the match. It's like, I'm hoping. Well, I think this is the match though that people. My assumption, and I think a lot of other people's assumption, this is where Ricochet debuts.
Agree.
And yeah.
I trust that that's possibly going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to show up, this is probably where.
This is yes, and because of his relationship with Ospreay, he obviously has the relationship with Swerve, so the winner is guaranteed a world title shot. Although
Ospreay call him out this week.
If Danielson wins, obviously that takes that story kind of out of there. But Ricochet, if Swerve were to retain, or if Swerve somehow gets the title back at some point, there is the story with Ricochet and Swerve that because they have their story going back to Lucha Underground. Let's see.
He did. I mean, didn't Will call him out on Twitter too, or call him out in a? Yeah, he called him out.
No, he was just been. Will was trying
to get his power back or something.
He was the one who told him to basically like WWE is misusing him, get him out of there. And then it came out like a week. Then it came out like a week later that he was not going to resign it. But then Swerve has made references to him as well. So
interesting.
Yeah, there's that story. I'm trying to pull up real quick to see if anybody else qualified for this match. But I assume like
anyone else.
I assume we're gonna get Okada here and Jeff Jarrett, Hangman
and
Page.
Maybe John Moxley.
I think Mox is not wrestling at all. I think Moxley is backstage and is going to come out with BCC regardless of what happens at the end of the Danielson match. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Unless he corners Danielson for that match, my guess is Mox is backstage and is going to just stay. I think he doesn't. I think they're trying to give him time off, and so he's not. I mean, he could be in it, but I could see Mox just not wrestling on this card at all and just letting him actually have his time off, but being there for BCC no matter what happens tonight. But I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he is in it.
And there's no real reason to put him in it, but I mean, I think you're probably right about the BCC thing, though. He's got to be like at least with them. I feel like, at some point, no matter how he plays into everything. All right, next graphic.
Go ahead.
I loved this picture, so I picked this one.
Yeah, this one was really cool. So, we have for the AEW Women's Championship, we have Timeless Toni Storm defending against Mariah May. They're fine. We've seen them obviously get their hands on each other a few times, but they have not actually been able to. They have clearly not wrestled each other. This is the first time that we're going to fully get them since Mariah attacked Toni Storm with the shoe that she did not watch out for. So
even though she warned her the whole time,
she sure did.
She said it the whole time. She should have paid attention to her own advice.
She should have. So, what do you think about this one?
I feel like Mariah has to win this. I mean, to sort of complete the story and start this new next chapter, and I mean. It kind of like, because you can make it so that Toni goes so mad that she like disappears for a minute, and then some other things go on because there's other people out there that could wrestle Mariah, and potential for even Jamie Hayter possibly, I guess, showing up out there. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Gray says that he also believes May is going to win. Nikki can't wait for this one. Yeah, this is the match I'm looking forward to.
Oh, me too. I'm really excited for this.
This is the one I'm looking forward to the most. I agree. I think Mariah May has to win here for the story that they're telling and for Tony to go into whatever her next character is going to be, because I feel like she's just going to go in. She's going to be driven mad. She's going to go into it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Mina Shirakawa, because Mina has maintained the whole time that she didn't know that Mariah was doing this. So it'll be interesting to find out if Mina is also playing us, or if she didn't know and Mariah's going after Mina next, which is certainly possible. Mina did win the Rev Pro title yesterday, I saw. And so I believe she is going to be around AEW for a while as well. I think we'll be seeing more of Mina regardless. So that could be, so I don't know if Mina gets involved at all, or if maybe she comes out afterwards and then confronts Mariah, because she has, like, they showed her a few weeks ago and she said she has not talked to Mariah and she was in shock and she hadn't talked to either one of them. So it'll be interesting to see how that story plays out. And then there's also Luther that we haven't seen for a while.
Mina is a great right there. I mean, that's kind of just waiting right there because it's already built into the story. So that's great. And then, I mean, anything could happen, but I'm going with Mariah on this one. And I love Ben Mankiewicz doing the
doing the narration last night.
Well, what's funny about that is that I've been following, I know he does the movie classics thing, but I followed him as a political commentator long before I was.
Wow.
So I've been following him for a really, really long time, since like 2014 or something.
Wow.
So it was really funny to see him popping up on wrestling Twitter and not where I normally see him.
Yeah, it's funny because he's always like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I enjoy that Tony Storm is taking me for a ride. Is basically
he gave me what did he gave Renee, Tony, and RJ City a huge compliment about, he's like, I have like no idea what I'm doing, but I'm glad they charmed me into it. And I love, like, he was totally putting them over. It's like, I love that he's not a wrestling fan, but he's not too cool. And I mean, this guy's got a background. Like, he's not too cool. What I love about Ben is that he's not too cool to do something, even though he doesn't even know. He's like, I know this is gonna like help me. And he's totally using it to milk, just getting, he's like, see, classic movie fans are everywhere.
Right, so exactly. I didn't get a chance to read it, but BBC did a story on this story. They did it on like Friday or something like that. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I've seen it pop up I've seen a screenshot of the article pop up a few times, and even Lisa was talking about it. So that's really cool. So
awesome.
So Gray says that Hayter is coming out at the end of this match. That's his prediction. Colin says Mina is turning on Tony to help Mariah win, and then we're getting heel Mina. And then Steven says that makes sense. Tony has to go through Mina to get to Mariah, perhaps. That could be where they're going with this. About the Jamie Hayter note. If she's clear, there's rumors that there was a rumor going around yesterday from somebody who I don't think that they're exactly credible, but there's a rumor going around that she was there, but they didn't know what capacity. She's just going to be there watching the show. If she's getting involved, she very well could show up here. However, there is a rumor that Saraya is pissed about being left off the card and is issuing an open challenge. And if Jamie Hayter is cleared, I could see Jamie Hayter answering that challenge.
I don't see Hayter involved with this at all. I think that's more likely that because they've got the setup of Mina already and other things and Luther and anything else. But I think, if anything, Hayter is either further down where the Mercedes and Britt Baker interact, or like you said, if Saraya throws down, because like
my other guess,
an Emmy issue.
That's what Nikki and I are talking about. If it's not Jamie, if Saraya does issue this challenge and it's not Jamie, I'm hoping it's Emmy. Especially after what happened last year when Emmy wanted to be on that card. She's obviously a huge Queen fan, and Saraya came out the Queen, and we saw that video of Emmy's reaction in real time to that, and that would be a good way to. So that's the perfect reason to have Emmy answer that open challenge if it's not Jamie Hayter or Becky Lynch, because that is the rumor that has been going around this weekend, is that Becky Lynch is coming. There have been Mikey Ruckus has hinted at it. And a couple other, so I don't know if Mikey Ruckus is playing in with it or if he is hinting that he's made music for her. So there has been that rumor as well. I don't know that she shows up, but I could see if she is coming.
Be a one-off. I don't think that
if she comes, I could see her answering Saraya's open challenge because of the history with Paige and Becky Lynch. And you also have Becky Lynch and Mercedes. You have that story as well. So they could potentially do something with that there. If any of these rumors are true, there are ways that they can bring Becky in with either the open challenge or with Mercedes because of the story that they have together, which also brings it back to Saraya, because Mercedes and Saraya have a long history as well. So there's both of those things. So we shall see if that happens. Colin says that he'd love for it to be Emmy. She deserves her moment. Agreed. And I just saw Emmy she is going to be, was she announced for a TJPW match yesterday?
Cool.
She's got something coming up in September. She was just announced for a big match yesterday. I can't remember I think it was TJPW, I want to say. Nikki said she missed Saraya's entrance because she went to the bathroom, and I was so mad when Samantha told me. Yeah, it was not cool.
You actually were in the perfect room to hear the news, Nikki.
Yeah, this is true.
That's where that match belongs. In the crapper. Anyway, so that's just my opinion. There we go.
All right, so we have the TNT Championship with Jack Perry, who has fashioned his own title. And then also had a nod to the House of Torture by making it black. And I'm sure I kept seeing so many jokes about how Evil is somewhere in Japan smiling because Jack Perry made his own title and he made it black. Against and he is wrestling Darby Allin, who has been, he's a two-time TNT champion, I believe. Is that correct? Is it 2 times? I think this will be if he wins, this will be his 3rd time, I think. I want to say.
Yes, I think even brought that up in part of his promo that he cut this week, I feel like.
Okay, Nikki says that the 16-man match is starting now. Just so we know. Right, thank you for that. What are your thoughts on this TNT Championship?
God, I probably should have thought this one through a little harder. I want to say that, gosh, I don't know. Let's go Jack Perry retains and puts Darby down because no, I'm leaning Darby. My gut says Darby. I don't know why. I feel like Darby Allin doesn't lose coffin matches, I guess.
Yes.
I feel like.
Oh, that is right. Yes, this is a coffin match. I'm leaning towards
Darby.
Just
remembered.
I'm leaning towards Darby as well, especially if they're taking titles off the Elite. I guess that would leave. Hold on, let me get rid of this.
Smart, because actually while I'm thinking about it, because it makes more sense for him to do that. It's a coffin match, and also that like the Elite is like they're gonna probably like end up melting down essentially to then lose those titles probably to somebody.
Yeah, so I don't know what
Jack
that means.
Perry, their scapegoat, is going to lose his title, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know how I don't know how they get the Continental title off of Okada, but
it could happen.
Maybe that happens at All Out, perhaps.
Maybe.
But I'm kind of wondering because this Elite thing it's fizzled out. It didn't turn out the way they expected. I could see potentially, so if Jack Perry loses, I could see that kind of being a domino effect where DDT.
Also,
I mean,
he's
DDT,
just kind of a douche. Like, he's just a douchey tool, and they are playing off of the shit that happened last year. And I remembered that it's a coffin match, and actually the pop, like, again, Cardiff, like, when Darby came out, those people lost their freaking minds.
Yeah.
So it is a cool belt, though.
It is a cool belt, and it's funny that people also were joking. They're like, his girlfriend goes to Japan, so he makes a new belt.
Well, I guess there was a debate in the Discord apparently about, like, there used to be, like, everybody that won the TNT title, and, like, because Cody had his own belt, and everybody, and then they stopped doing that for a while, and then went back to doing it because people were criticizing. They were like, he's not allowed to change a belt, and I'm like, wait a minute,
all did.
But then it's like, actually, and then I think the overwhelming feeling for everyone, because of what it is, was that everyone who wins it having their own version of it is kind of cool, and we like that you get to personalize this one just because it's a TV championship, you know. It's not like, so it's kind of fun, and if they merched right, they would be selling like every single replica version they could.
Right.
But we won't get into that.
Yes, I was shout out to Jeremy, who accidentally put that we were on at 11 a.m. Pacific time, so he corrected himself and said that we're live right now, unlike him. So we appreciate that correction.
It's hard enough for us to keep things in order, but then they go and add the GMT thing, and it's like, well, this is just a nightmare.
Listen, it's
but we need to get used to it, because I'm pretty sure they're doing like 2 shows there next year now. So
yeah, and they're gonna. And I was like, Anna's just like trying to keep up with the times in Japan as well, and trying to remember when these things start. So yes,
they're getting the it's sort of their more like the G1 experience for the Pacific people, the PSP people today.
Yes,
they're lucky. Like, they get a little later in the day. Like, it's 5 a.m. for us. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's been a couple times when
Wrestle Kingdom is the only thing that I will get up and watch live.
I
watched it 1 year not live, and I will never do it again. And I will never not watch it live.
I think it was my second, like, it's some of the last Kenny Omega matches and stuff. I got up for, because I was like, I'm watching this live. I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, I get it. Before we pull up, we'll talk. No, you can leave the graphic, but I just want to go back to Colin real quick. Colin says that Emmy is wrestling on September 22nd for Wrestle Prince 5 versus Shoko Nakajima. And then he says down here that, oh wait, no, not that one. He says that Emmy versus Shoko should be great, by the way. Awesome. And then
I believe it.
He wasn't expecting Anna Jay to get 3 wins in the 5-star. I've heard that she has been really great over there. I've seen some of her post-match interviews that she's done, and she seems to be having the time of her life in Japan, and I'm glad that she was there. And then I know, I saw it and I read it in that voice, damn it. But Nikki said
ruined it forever.
She just noticed that Evil Luno has rolled up paper. Love that nod to Brody Lee. We do love that nod to him. Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning.
LaRon making me read that in Jericho's voice.
We all did it. It's okay. Every single one of us that is hanging out doing this dorky stuff all read it in that voice. It made me even madder that, like, when Jericho was on commentary, there was a time, like, he was doing it when he first got on there, and then there was a time when the camera even panned to him and he was like, "Hi guys," and I was just like,
I know. Yes. It was great because he did the hi guys, and Tony Schiavone was like, hey.
Tony Schiavone was kind of funny last night.
Yeah, Tony
was all over the place.
It was funny because
I think the time change was really affecting Tony.
Probably
Schiavone.
So. There was a part where they were talking. Nigel was talking about the firebomb used on Hook, and he said he was like, you wouldn't use that on your kids if they were like a little unruly, and he was like, know, but the way Tony's response was so funny, and just the way it came out, it made me laugh.
And then Nigel said, "Then you're a bad parent," is what he finished with. Tony's answer was like sleepy, appalled, like, I can't believe you're even saying. He's like, I know this is kayfabe, but wait, no. And then he was like, well, then you're a bad parent. I was like,
Nikki was like, does Nigel have kids? And I was like, I have no idea. But it was really funny.
I hope he does, and he's the best dad ever, because usually those, like, I just hope that, yeah, but
for whatever reason, Nikki said she didn't read it like that, and her brain refuses to accept it.
You keep that innocence, lady. You just hang on
for as long as you can.
For the rest of us, for all our sakes.
Nikki said she loved. Yes, Nigel protected Tony last night because Lio Rush did this tope. He did it twice in a row. He did 2 topes in a row and went right into the table, and Nigel protected Tony both times. And Nikki was like, or is he gonna like acknowledge it? And then he did. He said a few minutes later, he was like, thank you to Nigel who watched out for me when Lio Rush came out here. So we do.
See, he can wrestle. He can at least protect a friend from what he views as incoming fire and flash.
Yeah, this is true. Nikki said she is gonna savor it for now. Yeah, so back to this match with Jericho and Hook, which was interesting last night. I can't tell if Big Bill is really that over, or if the fans just love Jericho that much, because they booed Hook when he won last night.
That, and I said this because Bob asked me the same thing, and this is my theory, is that especially WWE has played Cardiff a lot, and a lot of and if you noticed on both Wednesday and last night's tapings, the WWE wrestlers were very over. Jeff Jarrett was incredibly over. Chris Jericho came out and there was a huge pop for him that hasn't been the typical pop that he's been getting in North America at all. And a lot of people, again, like everyone was basically on Big Bill's side.
Like there was one point during the match that the crowd was so loud chanting and hitting the barricades that you could not hear commentary. And it was for Big Bill. I don't think Big Bill has ever gotten a reception like that ever. And that's not to take anything away from Big Bill, because I like him. And I think he knows how to work this. I hate the learning tree, but Brian Keith is the best thing about it. But Big Bill knows how to work it because he was part of WWE. So he gets the sports entertainment side of things. And so I really like Big Bill, and I think he's doing a really great job with it. But I was just really surprised. I was like, I did not expect Big Bill to be this. So I was like, is Big Bill that much over in Cardiff, or is it because he's associated with Jericho, or maybe it's a little bit of both?
I think it's both. I think that they like the kind of wrestler that he is. I think that they like. I was like, okay, so the learning tree is over in Wales. So we found the place where it's over. The Welsh love this. That's awesome. Like, and great, because it sounded fantastic. It was just a weird reception. Like you said, I think we all were a little bit like, wait a minute, you're doing it wrong.
Especially because
Hook like, no, they're doing what they like.
Over everywhere else that he goes. I mean, Hook was over before he even wrestled. He was over just from, I mean, they literally would send Hook. Tony would send Hook in between to like get the crowd hype in commercial breaks. Like he did it for us in Charlotte before, and he wasn't even wrestling then. So like he's super over. So it was just really interesting to hear kind of that reversal here. Who do you think wins this one?
Well, I mean, if the reaction's like that, I don't know if you want Hook booed out of the building unless you're trying to turn him heel at that point. I don't know what Tony's plans were. I don't know if he would make an adjustment. But there is an argument to be made for this to like just stay with Jericho and Hook moves on. And the FTW championship stays what it is. And maybe he'll turn it into a new pretty belt too, and it'll look different.
Oh,
And
Taz will murder him. I heard that Taz he made changes to the belt, and Taz did not know he was going to make changes to the belt, and it really upset Taz because that belt was created for a specific reason, and Jericho has hijacked what that means and has made it hit to put himself over, and apparently Taz is not happy with him. So I could see
like
that.
in kayfabe
No,
or
like no, in real
life?
if Taz gets people mad at people wearing orange, then of course he's gonna get.
I didn't realize.
No,
you didn't tell me he was. You should have
no.
led with he wasn't wearing orange. If you had led with that, I wouldn't have asked you that question.
Yes, from what I understand, he is legitimately mad at Jericho because he did not know that he was going to change the titles and the plates, that he was going to hijack it the way that he has. And from what I mean, maybe they're okay now because he's seen how it's played out for storyline, but maybe he's not. But you know how Taz gets he's had to fight. Like he said, he's had to fight for a lot of things, and he feels a lot of times he doesn't get the respect that he deserves, which I would agree with that Taz is often, especially in the way WWE treated him after all the things he did in ECW. So I can see maybe he's a little too protective of certain things because he got upset with Jordan Grace over something, and then he realized, I overreacted. This is why I did it. I realized that I was wrong. So perhaps he has realized, okay, Jericho's actually getting people to talk about the belt, or, so maybe he's known Jericho for, 30 years. So maybe he has cooled off, but apparently in the beginning, when Jericho was making the changes to the belt, Taz did not know this was going to happen, and he was really upset about it. And that you can kind of hear it at the beginning in these early matches. You could hear, and I don't think Taz was just doing it for commentary. I think he was legitimately upset with Jericho doing what he did to that title because of what that title came out of originally. So I could see, like, you make a valid point. I could see them keeping it on Jericho because of what they are doing. And how it's gotten over. However,
but it's only in the one place because I don't feel like it's that over everywhere.
But I think it is getting. Apparently, the live crowds are reacting differently to it than people online are, from what I have heard. So I think it is. And Jericho is the highest paid wrestler in AEW, so I think he's gonna be on TV. They're going to find a way to keep him on TV because he's the highest paid wrestler they have. So,
I mean, it's a European audience, and they are always going to lean still. I mean, regardless, because WWE is still the biggest product, and it's what they're, 92 SummerSlam was like the biggest thing ever. Like, I don't know. I feel like in this particular case, for whatever, it's the stipulation that on the surface, if you just asked me and I didn't think about it, I would go, well, Hook has to win because he can't never be able to go after his dad's belt again.
Right.
But it feels like Jericho keeps it and completely maybe he just says, all right, Taz, I'm going to do a whole new for the world. It's got rainbows and it's,
Jericho's not going to have anything with
got a bad apple on it. I mean, it could look like a storybook. He's always going around. It could look like a stereo manual or something like the one from Beetlejuice that, recently, because he's constantly telling people maybe the front plate is like totally, maybe they go away and whatever. I don't know. It's
maybe. I mean, I still have Hook winning here, but I could see Jericho retaining because it is.
I hope you're right. I mean, I want Hook. My personal pick is Hook, but I don't know if this is getting over with people, which I see a lot of people even online starting to come around to it, whether we like it or not.
Me, I'm never coming around to it.
This is where this falls into that, goes into that WWE realm that I don't.
Well, and
it wasn't
he
for
already
somebody
took
like
the
Brian
storyline
Keith.
from Brian Myers did this story in TNA several years ago. Like he
Okay.
called it the
I didn't
learning
even
tree.
know
Like he
that.
basically, yes, he already, yeah, that came out. Brian Myers did this story already. He did it in TNA like 3 years ago, and it was called the learning tree. He had people underneath him. So he basically stole the entire. I mean, he says it came out of people telling him to retire, which he. There was a quote the other day, and he said he was not going to retire because he had a six-pack and he could do a moonsault. And I was like, and then he went on to say, and I love my job and I love my boss. But that was, he led with, I have a six-pack and can do a moonsault. And that's why he's not retiring. Those are not reasons to retire. There's lots of, look at, Nikki said, look at Alex Coughlin.
Yeah.
I mean, he has neck issues, but still. Laurent says, Hook needs to win this match and retire the title, or he needs to lose so he can move on to something else. The FTW title is holding him back.
Now, yes, and that, to my point a little bit, if he did lose, that would free him up from this entire storyline and a raging, I just lost my dad's title and it got completely corrupted and turned into something else Hook. Angry, one-eyed monster Hook running through AEW right now with who's out there. But
hopefully he gets away from Jericho, because then almost in that case, even though he can't fight for the title but if he can't fight for the title anymore, that doesn't mean, but he still is going to want a revenge on Jericho.
He can't fight for the FTW title, doesn't mean he can't. He could challenge for the, he could go.
No, but what I'm saying is he's going to want revenge on Jericho.
Yeah, fair enough.
Even if there's no title involved. So we may not get a clean break just yet, but maybe so. Nikki said, I'm not sure because I don't have the sound up, but I'm pretty sure Kyle shouted Aussie, Aussie, Aussie is to throw us off for when Mark comes. And then
he did.
Sure, you can spoil us and tell us which team won. And then I will wait for that. And in the meantime, Laurent says the TNT title, is right there, and he could challenge for that instead. They need to get the TNT title. That's the thing. The TNT title is kind of, I was like, they're gonna, if they keep putting it on Darby, it's gonna turn into the tag team titles where it just goes between, where FTR gets it every few months. Now it's turning into Darby gets it every few months. And I mean, I think it's been a while because obviously he had the tag team titles, but I mean, he's had it several times. Like, you've got to quit doing that. We need to move him away. And of course, the babyface team won the 16-person match.
Okay. Wow.
Sounds about right. Thank you for that update.
All right, let's move on to the next one. What's the next one? That's what I have next.
All right. This one is the TBS Championship, and so we'll make that very clear. This is just for the TBS Championship, not the Strong title. The Strong title is being defended in the main event of Capital Collision next Friday. Is when that match will be happening. And so we will have Mercedes Moné as defending her title against Britt Baker. We talked about this match last week. If you missed that, we were pretty much of the mind of like, we need to move past this match as quickly as possible.
Yes, please.
Just get it on. Like, I get it. I do appreciate that. I thought the promo this week was probably the best Britt has sounded in a while. However, I didn't like, I said last week that Britt needed to bring up the fact that she used to watch Mercedes and Bailey matches in the back of her dental class when she's supposed to be paying attention to school. She was watching their matches. Mercedes is the one who brought that up, which wasn't crazy about. I mean, I get why she did it, but I felt like Britt should have. I was like, why? That's part of your story right there. Britt can say, you know what? I was putting myself through dental school and watching your matches, and now I'm here. And then she went with the route with, I didn't have a plan B. I have 2 plan A's. And that's why she, and then she said that she put down the 4 horsewomen and said she was one of one, and Mercedes was just part of 4 horsewomen who just happened to change women's wrestling and like modern
really
day
change it.
Which, I mean, I get it. But I'm like, Britt's supposed to be the baby face here because Mercedes is a heel. Britt's supposed to be the baby face, yet she's throwing the women's revolution under the bus.
Under the bus.
And Britt was the face of AEW's women's division. However, the ace of that women's division is Hikaru Shida.
Yeah.
And also Riho. And so we need to respect them a little bit, which I appreciate that promo that Shida cut a really great promo about how she is the ace of the division and she's tired of being disrespected. And so I'm hoping that's going to set, I know we've had Shida versus Mercedes, but I'm hoping that's going to set that up. Like we get a proper feud between the two of them. But I'm just ready to get this match over with because I think another reason that promo didn't work for me, other than her saying and just insulting a lot of people at one time, is that Britt's not winning this match. Like it's very obvious. Like you see this, you go down the list and you can very obviously check off Mercedes is winning this match. And I know why they're doing it. I get it. But it feels like a throwaway match. This is not a pay-per-view match in my eyes. This is a Dynamite match. Maybe a Dynamite main event. Or perhaps Battle of the Belts, where we know the title is not changing hands. But this is not a pay-per-view match to me. And Britt has lost a lot of step. I mean, there's a lot of women who have surpassed her in that division. And I think Britt is lost, and it's obvious that she is lost in that division. And I know she's only been back for a couple of months, and then she got suspended, and she's trying to find her footing. And I will give her that. But overall, like, this match is just, I think it's going to be good. I think Mercedes is going to carry her a lot. And I will be interested to see. Obviously, there's Camille that's probably going to get involved. Could we see Jamie Hayter here? Perhaps.
To me, if Jamie Hayter is going to get involved, and I don't even see her necessarily getting involved, I more see like Mercedes wins and she comes out and calls her out for the title.
Yeah,
just I could at the top. You get the Jamie Hayter's back. You get this is you cannot like pay Mercedes what you're paying her and bring her on the way that you brought her on and not have her lose her first defense.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening here.
And I think they had to get this match out of the way. I feel there's a lot, and I hate to say this because I don't want to shit on her and I don't know what's going on in the back.
Right.
But this feels like we did this match to shut Britt up. And when other women aren't making it on this pay-per-view, Emmy, whatever, that's
you don't have
Emmy.
You don't have Emmy, Shida, or Riho. Well, no, Riho's. Wait, is Riho injured? Again, I think so.
Yes,
but okay, so yes, but you don't have that
spot, and she busted her arm.
That's right, and so you don't have Shida. You don't have Shida on this match. I mean, on this.
And I think Shida and Mercedes is a better feud because I think that because Mercedes already fundamentally has the right tools, working with Shida would be freaking awesome.
And I think that's what Mercedes wants. Like Mercedes loves Japanese.
She was living everybody.
She was living in Japan before she got injured, and that's what she was doing. So Shida, I would like to see her wrestle Emmy.
She's just a trainer, and so
Emmy trained Shida. So I would like to see Emmy and Mercedes. I would have preferred that. I mean, of course, I would prefer Emmy in a bunch of matches, but
also, how can you give a belt to someone that you just suspended for?
I don't
being 2 weeks.
Nah, Britt is not.
But and was
even if she hadn't been suspended, she's not getting this
because
title.
They were sick of her shit.
Yes.
I mean,
no, that's true. I don't know everybody. Mercedes is gonna be Mercedes 2 belts for a while. I think she wins at Capital Collision. I think she retains today. There's no reason for Britt to win this title. Mercedes does not need to drop this title, as you said. And then Lauren says Britt's promo was disrespectful to Shida, Riho, and Nyla. Yes, I would 100% agree with that. Yeah, Nyla's not on this card either.
I know it's even the WWE people that are the ones that have like done nothing but put themselves over and done for themselves and been like that's those people are never like the people you look at and go, yay, I want to root for that person.
Right.
I mean, some people want to root for that person because they want to be that person or whatever. That's fine. But for me, it just, I don't know. And again, like even more than anything, and I don't even care that they're telegraphing it or whatever the win is, blah, blah, blah. but the fact is, like, this chick was just suspended for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think she would have won the title regardless of her suspension.
But that just kind of puts the nail in it to me.
I feel like they were trying to make Britt a big deal upon her return, so they put her in a big match, and also because of what she did do for the women's division when it was struggling, I feel like this was a thank you for that.
But that doesn't mean you get to jump back to the head of the line. There's
no,
women who
and she's not. We said this last week, and
there's better
Britt
wrestlers.
has never. She's had good matches, but there are much better wrestlers in that division than her, and that was evident when she had the title.
Even some of the younger people that are coming up, even like the Renegade Twins are making waves, and I hear people mentioning them on Observer and Lady Frost. We always talk about her. But it's just I mean, nobody likes it when someone walks in there like, well, I've been here the whole time, so I just get to jump back like to the front. Like that's literally the worst attitude you can have in sports.
Yeah.
And anything really. It's like, no, you kind of gotta. We've all been here the whole time doing this. You don't just get to come back in here and like take back over.
Right, exactly. And
work yourself into what we're doing to prove that you're a team player in this case.
Right. And Nikki has said so. The Willow Ishii Stoke Statlander match is on. They both have matching gear. She just says Willow and Ishii, they look better as a unit. Lady Frost has been. I know she's been kind of booked all over the place.
Out Serena Deeb. There you go.
I think Serena Deeb, they're being cautious with her because she had some very severe health problems.
Yep.
I believe that is. I believe that's probably their. That's my assumption is that they're being cautious with Serena, but I don't know. Because she had a story going and then kind of disappeared, which leads me to believe that maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, her health is okay. But I'm curious because she was in a storyline and then just kind of went away. So I don't know what's going on there. Apparently, they have announced that Grand Slam will be in Australia on February 15th, 2025, which there was I was not
that
on the
rumor
media
was out there a lot.
I was not on the media call on Thursday because I was at a doctor's appointment, and then my shoot job decided the night before that we would have a meeting when I got back from my doctor's appointment. So by that point it was after 3:00 and it wasn't happening, but I did see Lyric had a thread, and so I retweeted her, and she said that there was a rumor that he hinted at something happening in Australia, a pay-per-view happening, which Grand Slam's not a pay-per-view, but is a very big show.
Meltzer said it on one of the a few days ago, Observer radios before anybody was rumoring it, and he was like, well, and then they're going to Australia. I was like, he said that really casually. Is that out there? I was like, okay.
Thursday, I don't know what was asked. I just know that Thursday. I'm not sure. And Lauren points out that we would probably get Mercedes versus Tony in Australia. Ooh,
that makes all the sense in the universe.
I could absolutely see that.
That's it. I mean, that books itself.
Yeah. And that's a Grand Slam. They do really big, even though Grand Slam's not a pay-per-view, they tend to book it like a pay-per-view because obviously it was when they only had the 4 pay-per-views per year. They were in Arthur Ashe. They were trying to book the hell out of it. And so they tend to book big matches. So I could see something that big.
Well, and for all we know, I mean,
maybe it'll main event.
This deal is pending. It's an any minute now deal, pretty much. It could be in the deal that Grand Slam becomes a pay-per-view because the talk has been for a long time.
Well, what day was that? February 15th? What is February 15th? Let's look.
That was last Friday, I think.
February 15th is a Saturday.
Oh, next year.
Yes, 2025. Because there's one in September of this. There's September, but the Australian one is 2025. So that's
which
on
makes
a Saturday
because they're going to want to show it live.
But Revolution is February, right? No, it's March. Well, it's February, March. But Revolution is sometimes in February. This year was the first time it was in March. Revolution is typically a February pay-per-view. So,
but they're doing Forbidden Door in London, so
right. They are.
I mean, they're all over now.
Yes. Oh, this is. Ooh, Steven said good spot for a Fletcher Davis title match too if everyone is healthy, or
Yeah.
perhaps
I'm
Aussie
with that.
Open challenges or defends. Please let us have that.
Yes, please. Put it in my veins.
Keith Lee is out of. I don't think Keith Lee's supposed to be coming back anytime soon. I think because he had surgery and was supposed to be out of action for quite a while. I don't think he's supposed to come back anytime soon. So I don't if Dijak even comes, which I don't know that he will. Keith Lee's not. He was supposed to because he had double hip surgery or double something he had, or it was his legs or something, but he had surgery.
I didn't know that he had ortho. But I knew he had cardio. So
no, he's this isn't cardio related at all. This is
wow.
he had Keith Lee had surgery like earlier this year, and
I knew he was out, but I didn't realize it was for exactly what it was
nothing
for.
to do with his cardio. This is something he got injured and he had to have surgery. Laurent says, put Mark Davis in bubble wrap once he returns. He's had the worst injury luck. Please.
True story.
Please.
Get the injury bug out of here. Okay, wait. Oh, let me just knock that over. Hang on. Let's get the next one that I have up. And it's this one.
All right. This is the wait, is this the London Ladders match?
86,000 ladders match.
Wait,
yes.
What is this?
No, London ladder match. Is this not it? Is that wrong?
This is very wrong. Nobody is Trent's had surgery. He's not in this match.
All right, forget this slide, everyone.
And the tag match is not the tag match is not a ladder match. This is tag match.
So I don't have the London ladder match.
Okay, we'll go back to the London. We can go to the London ladder match and just. Well, actually, I guess we'll just talk about the London ladder match.
Let's do that, and we'll just talk about it without the picture.
So the London ladder match is for the trios titles. The Patriarchy are the current champions. It's Christopher Daniels made the match on last week's Collision. It's the Patriarchy versus the Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black versus a mystery team that was competing last night. So
I knew that
last night we had the match. It was Top Flight and Leah Rush versus what somebody at Wrestling Inc. has called the Pack Pool Combat Club, because it was Pac, Claudio, and Yuta, which also makes me think that Mox is not wrestling, because if he were, he would have been in this title match. Or he would have been in this trios match. So, and I also wonder, because there was the rumor that Lucha Bros were supposed to have been at All In, and people thought it was the tag match, but I think it must have been Death Triangle was supposed to have been in this trios match.
That makes a lot more sense.
Probably going to win the trios titles. Penta decided he didn't want to re-sign. Phoenix, being a good brother, not re-signing. And so they had to do something with Pac, because Pac missed All In last year because he was injured. So this is how we get Pac on the card. We put him in this in the Pac Pool Combat Club. So Pac Pool Combat Club won last night. That match was great. That match was really, really good. I mean, I do love Top Flight and Leo Rush, but I thought that match was really, really cool. And so they have won their way into this card, but I see the Patriarchy retaining. I think that's
probably, yeah, it looks like
because I don't think, depending on how long Mox is going to be on vacation, I don't see them having BCC plus Pac win a title. Even if I guess if Danielson wins, then you have everybody in BCC with titles except technically Mox. So I guess they could that's the only reason I could see Pac Pool Combat Club winning, is if Danielson's going to win and they're going to have everybody as champions. Mox is okay. He is on vacation. I said earlier in the show, I don't think Mox is wrestling at all. I think he's trying to take time off.
He's hanging out in London and having the time of his life.
I think he's backstage and
hanging out with his wife and his kid.
I think he will celebrate, or I think BCC comes out for Danielson regardless of what happens with
celebrate or commiserate with them.
So I think Mox, because especially if if Danielson loses, you can't have BCC there and not have Mox be there especially if he loses. I think Mox is backstage.
I feel like I don't think he's wrestling at all.
No, I could see him potentially being in the gauntlet match, but I think they're trying to. They owe him big time for last year and all the time that he didn't take off, and so I don't think he's wrestling. I think he's just.
I feel like they're using the gauntlet match for things like a Ricochet and a premiere, and the gauntlet match feels more like something that they don't need to. Like Mox is the big boy. Mox is one of the agents of the company. He doesn't need to be in that match. Like,
yeah, I think that, and I also think, like,
I joked that he was stuck.
I think this is where Scorpio Sky returns, is the casino.
Oh, I hope so. Match. I joked that he was stuck driving on the wrong side of the road, and he was making wrong turns like Clark Griswold in European Vacation, because Bob had to learn how to drive on the wrong side of the road when we were in Ireland, and it takes a minute.
Yeah.
So, he's out sightseeing. He's like, look, it's Big Ben. All right, next one. This is what I have next, though. So, because we basically blink.
All right, so then we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It's the Young Bucks, one of their matches they have left on their deal for the year. So they're gonna come wrestle against FTR and the Acclaimed in a match that is not a pay-per-view level match, and a match that I really don't care about.
Sam's really excited for this match, everybody. Can you tell?
This is a match on the card. This is how I feel about this, which is disappointing because I really love the Young Bucks. Young Bucks generally have really great pay-per-view matches. And yeah, I've seen them versus FTR, and I'm over the Acclaimed, and you guys that watch regularly know my feelings about FTR. So this match is not for me. As much, and I'm saying that as somebody who likes the Young Bucks. I'm sure it will be. I'm hoping the Young Bucks show up today. I know we talked about that last week, where some people feel like they were phoning it in. I don't necessarily feel that way. I don't think they phone it in at Wembley, regardless of any. We know that they have ongoing back injuries and things like that. The Young Bucks have long had a lot of injuries that they have to deal with, but they still find a way to give 100%. And so I feel like they'll show up today at Wembley, regardless of what people think. But yeah, it's a match. So what are your thoughts about
it's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. It's not like one of the matches that like I'm, when I look at the card, it's not something that I'm like, oh, hey. I think, like we talked about earlier, I think the best in terms of like, this is like a storyline match. It's all it is. It's kind of like, they're going to drop their titles maybe and have a meltdown. But then who do you put it on? Do you put it on FTR or do you put it on the Acclaim?
You put it on Motor City Machine Guns.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Or GYB.
Love that. I would love
I was
gonna say to you, do you think maybe somebody comes running in here and messes this whole thing up?
If it is
like a real tag team that somebody we want to see.
If there's still a chance that Motor City is not going to WWE, they did finish up last week. Last week was their last indie show. If Tony somehow, like, I have WBD money,
right?
We're losing the Lucha Brothers. Please help us.
You can stay living in your house and only work Wednesdays. Saturdays,
please.
Saturdays.
Alex, if you would like to keep your day job, you're free to do that. We have a dentist. You can still be a physical therapist if you would like to. You can keep your coaching and nutrition business on the side as well. Please come save this division that I have booked terribly now. That's I feel like the Young Bucks should drop the titles, because if they have X number of appearances for the rest of the year, they don't need to hold it hostage. The Elite storyline has not played out however they thought it was going to go. If Jack Perry loses, it goes back to, if Jack Perry loses, the Bucks lose, then at some point we get the title off of Okada, then the Elite has no championships. I can see that. I will not be surprised if FTR wins this. I don't want that to happen, but I could see it happening. I would agree with I would agree with LaRon that the Acclaimed has taken the loss here and hopefully breaking up afterwards. Please.
Yeah, I just can't. I don't see the Bucks retaining, and I don't see the Acclaimed winning. So that's, I mean, by process of elimination, I'm giving this one to FTR. Basically, it's not like, oh yeah. I mean, this one again, I'm with you, kind of. I don't have as strong of feelings necessarily. It's just all these gimmicks have run their course with me.
Yeah.
This whole entire match, all these gimmicks, like all these teams, they've run their course.
Yeah, LaRon brings up a good point, which I had forgotten about, because Darby won that stupid world title shot that he does not need. And he doesn't need to win here with Jack's reign getting started, which that's a fair point too. But it is the coffin match, and do you have Darby lose a coffin match, which would be more meaningful?
Well, it would for break Jack it. I mean, it would not be
would be more meaningful for that.
Yeah.
And so
maybe.
Nikki said, is there a stipulation in this tag? I thought a couple of weeks ago that it was a ladder match before the trios was made. No, it was never a stipulation match. It's, yeah.
I think it's I think all the stipulations were over, and this is the match that's the culminator. I'm pretty sure we finally got there. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven says Mel hit the nail on the head. Everything in this match just feels tired. Yeah, like we said last week, I've seen this.
Play down.
I've seen this. I think this match is proof of where the tag team division is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you're not putting it on Private Party. You're not putting it on Top Flight.
And it tells you why
the infantry, which is a primarily ROH team, like but
I would have rather had if the infantry was in here in place of any one of these teams, I would be more interested immediately.
Yeah, ROH and AEW are both having a lot of similarities in their tag team division, which is the same case in WWE and TNA and even New Japan. Tag team wrestling just does not matter to these companies anymore. They don't give a shit. And it's mostly indie promotions. That there's only a few indie promotions that seem to give a shit about their tag matches.
My favorite tag teams are all in my local promotions right now.
Right. And so it just feels like nobody cares about tag team wrestling anymore. And then this is proof of it. This match is proof that you don't care about your tag team division or tag team wrestling.
Well,
even though at some point I do
potentially losing your biggest one, your primary pillar, pillars, whatever, built the company. Yeah. You're losing one of your primary, most likely.
But then they're going to a company who also can't book.
I'm not saying it's going to be better.
No, I'm just saying, but they're the same way.
Going to be the same. You may as well take the money, right?
And then you've got the blood, and then like I said last week, and I've said it the last few weeks, the Bloodline have one set of titles.
Everything.
Sammy and Jay are probably gonna get the Raw titles, and then the Bloodline is just gonna have both. They're gonna have the titles for a while, and so then Lucha Brothers, unless they're going to NXT, which is the same case as Motor City, unless both of them are going to NXT, then those tag team titles aren't going to be on anyone else for a while, which is very frustrating, especially when like Street Profits had an incredible match on. They had an incredible match with DIY. They had a great match last Friday, and we knew that they weren't going to win.
Those are two great teams, so
right.
It's a bummer.
It is.
That's it. Bring back tag team wrestling. We love it. What the hey? All right, let's go.
All right. So we have made it to the main event of the show, which is a title versus career match with Swerve Strickland putting his AEW World Championship on the line against Bryan Danielson's career. So you definitely have some stakes here. This should be an excellent match. And what do you think about this one?
Okay, I'll give you what my I tweeted this, so a few people saw it, I know, but I think Nigel gets involved in this match, makes it so that Danielson wins and says, "You're not retiring with unfinished business, MFer." We still have a thing, and I don't like the idea of Swerve losing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all this sort of paperwork, like the empirical sort of like the logics dictates, and the smartest thing is that Swerve maintains, like, he retains his title and he continues on. And I mean, but they've got Danielson's family there, and I know that, again, it drives me crazy because Bryan Danielson is so, like, super carny. So this could, like, this literally could go either way.
Yeah.
And I hate the idea of Swerve losing, but the stipulations make it way more complicated.
Right.
So, but I did appreciate, before, real quick, one of my favorite was tweeting out a bunch of stuff, but Swerve at one point this week was like, "I got you, Birdie," on Twitter.
Oh, he's a menace.
He's
a
been
menace.
He's been great during all this stuff here.
Yeah. Initially, before they added the career thing, I thought Swerve would win because it is a bigger deal for Swerve to beat Bryan Danielson than it is for Danielson to beat the champion and become champion. But I could see Danielson winning today and holding the title until Wrestle Dream, because it's in Washington. That's where Darby is from, where Danielson is from. That's where Swerve is from. Perhaps Swerve gets a rematch there, and Swerve wins the title back. Maybe Darby does have that title match at some point, that he has a future world title shot, but then so does whoever wins the gauntlet match today, which you could potentially, if Swerve retains and Ricochet wins, that gets you right into that story. But then do you have Ricochet lose the title match, his first match out? Because I don't think you put a world title on Ricochet right away. I could see him getting the Continental Championship, maybe, or maybe getting the International Championship or something like that. I don't see him getting a world title right away, but there is that possibility. Of course, Hangman could win, but then if Hangman wins, then Swerve has to drop the title to Hangman. I think that's the only conclusion to that part of the story. So I think, so yeah, I feel like Danielson's probably winning. Our friend Doug had an idea that Danielson wins and then immediately retires and leaves his belt and his boots in the ring, which I could see happening. That is a Danielson thing to do. It's a very big moment for Wembley and for those fans. And they're getting ready to lose this pay-per-view. I mean, yes, they're getting Forbidden Door next year, but they're losing this pay-per-view at least for the time being. So there's that. There was yesterday, Fightful came out and said Danielson is legitimately working without a contract right now. His contract,
I heard that too.
The contract really did expire August the 1st. August the 1st is when it went out. He was not cleared for blood and guts. And he was working limited. They knew he could only work limited matches. And so that's why they have tried not to let him wrestle. He's wrestled one match in the month and a half between the Owen Hart Foundation tournament and All In. He is still, he's continued doing his disciplinary committee duties in addition to contributing creatively. From what they understand, Danielson has been doing this under terms of his talent deal. AEW sources tell us that they expect renewed efforts for some sort of working agreement whenever his current run concludes. Those we've heard from over the last few years often spoke about the trust Tony Khan has in Danielson, which is obviously why Danielson is working without a contract, because there is trust there. And I'm trying to think, there was something else that... Oh, yeah. So here we go. It says Danielson repeatedly and sincerely lobbied against becoming champion in All Elite Wrestling, much like Sting had with Danielson. It extended to lobbying to lose the vast majority of his matches, and some saying that Danielson even seemed like he would often regret some that he won. We haven't been told that Danielson has been saying his goodbyes, but he's also expected to remain around AEW following the conclusion of his run as an in-ring wrestler. He's been very transparent in saying that he wants to continue contributing to AEW after his neck is taken care of. So some people have read that and think that means that Danielson is losing today because there is no contract. If the neck things are true, again, we've talked about this a lot, how Danielson likes to lie. You can never completely take him seriously, but he has had health issues. To what extent, those could be exaggerated as well, because it's just what Danielson does. Could he win the title today, leave it there in the ring, go have neck surgery, come back as a part-time basis? Perhaps. Maybe he wins, holds it till Wrestle Dream, goes and have surgery, and wrestles whatever dates he wants to next year, which I do think we're still going to get a match with Nigel at some point. Maybe we get Nigel Danielson at Forbidden Door.
I wanted to, but I am thinking about it, and even flying his family in, like, for as much as like that would, but if you were
you could have them lose in front of his family.
I was going to say, if he's retiring, though, you would want your family there too. Right. He's been wrestling for like 100 years.
Well,
they've been with him the whole
Cody
time.
Rhodes was wrestled in front of, they brought his mama out for like the WrestleMania match. She was there for the
if I was retiring, I would want my family there.
Yeah, which is again why I think Mox is backstage regardless of what happens, whether he wins. I think BCC comes and celebrates with him. Right. If he loses, Mox is absolutely going to be there. And then I was like, then there's William Regal, who
he's just
local. I don't see him showing up, but I could see him keeping an eye
being
on
around
whatever happens for this.
I'm sure they saw each other this week and such.
I see cases for both wrestlers winning, but I'm leaning toward Danielson winning the title and then holding it until Wrestle Dream and then dropping it in his home state and then leaving to go have surgery.
Especially since, I guess, while he's away, Swerve and Hangman can finish their unfinished business. They don't need a belt for them to get mad at each. I mean, Hangman could be like literally just sabotaging Swerve's every move.
Which could happen today. That could be how Danielson wins. Hangman could come cost Swerve because Hangman does not have a match. He's probably in the gauntlet match, but as of right now,
he feels like he's hanging around and it's going to do something
Hangman has
shady.
Said he's going to. No, wait, Hangman is in the gauntlet match, right?
Oh,
Isn't that what he said about Evil? Yeah, because he ran Evil Uno with his bag and walked over top of him. So wait a minute. So yeah, he did say, I take that back.
Would give him, I mean, I guess
Hangman did say on Wednesday he's in the gauntlet match that he entered it. That's right.
Which would give him a future shot at the title, however that looks.
Right. LaRon said, can the gauntlet winner cash in at any time? Because he said he thought they mentioned it on commentary. I have not seen that, but I did.
I'm not sure they said at a future date was what I read.
Well, but what I was going to say is I saw a tweet from Jim Valley saying he doesn't like the idea of, I guess the theory is that Hangman wins and he cashes it in on Swerve today. And he said that's too much like Money in the Bank and he doesn't think AEW needs that. So perhaps maybe it is like he can do it at any time. I assumed it was for a future date, but I'm not 100% positive on that.
But I'm not sure. I don't have a good
But yeah, I see. I would prefer Swerve to hold on to this title here, but I feel like it's going to be Danielson. They're going to force the title on him just like they did with Sting, which I'm not necessarily mad at, but I don't like that. I don't think it takes anything away from Swerve, but it would mean more for Swerve's title reign to beat one of the best wrestlers in the world and to retain that title. I think would mean more to Swerve than it means to Danielson to beat Swerve, but I
feel like if Danielson wins, though, there's not going to be he might beat the crap out of him for sure.
Right.
I feel like there's going to be some shred of doubt in there somewhere, whether it's Hangman or a BCC member or.
If Danielson wins, and if they've been protecting him and not letting him wrestle, then how often does he defend that title between now and Wrestle Dream? I mean, sure he does. I mean, you had Samoa Joe where he wouldn't defend the title some weeks. MJF's a lot of his title run was him not defending his title.
Everything about MJF's reigns his title.
So even Roman Reigns would go.
You gotta fight other people to fight me.
Yeah, so I could see Danielson not wrestling as often. I mean, so we have obviously, if he wins today, I don't see him defending it at all out. I think they're going to give him a break. That's 13 days away. I don't think he's going to turn around and
Unless
have
he
a match
totally
there.
lied about the neck thing, and then
Which I don't think he did. Maybe it's not as bad as he says it is, but I do think there's neck injuries there. I mean, he's
got stenosis.
so
period. That doesn't
I
go
don't
away.
see him turning around and wrestling 13 days from now to defend his title. So then that would make the next pay-per-view Wrestle Dream. I mean, hopefully he would defend the title because there's the Grand Slam. He could wrestle so he could skip All Out, defend at Grand Slam, defend at Wrestle Dream, and then drop the title at Wrestle Dream, if that's what they're doing. And then you've got, after Wrestle Dream, you have Full Gear and World's End, and then you have Wrestle Dynasty, and then Revolution, and also Grand Slam. Because Grand Slam is February 2025, right? Yep. So yes. So they're doing Grand Slam that close? Yeah, because the Grand Slam here is in September.
Yeah, the Long Island one. I guess that'll be the last Long Island one.
And then in February, we're gonna have Grand Slam again.
That tells me that they rearranged some things and that the new deal is gonna have.
Well, and that's why I think All In moved to July, because they're gonna keep All Out. They're gonna move All Out back to Labor Day weekend, which I think they'll announce that next week. I think BJ
Bethel is gonna get seriously vindicated, and nobody that gave him shit is gonna apologize to him.
Oh no, nobody will apologize for BJ, but BJ's been right the whole time.
Again, like we talked about last week, we had a debate about it, but we talked about last week, I don't doubt him. I just didn't my question was, what's it gonna look like?
I think Tony announces the deal.
The way that you make all these stadiums and moves and all these other countries.
The Overdrive show is right there. That's proof
they built that. They started dropping that Overdrive show, and then there's another thing that they're doing as a mini show that
the deal is done. It's coming. Plus, and I think ROH is part of it.
Well, it's crazy because when you think about that, Disney and Hulu and Max are a bundle now.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an ad for it yesterday. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think Tony announces it today.
I do too. And
I think they do halfway through the show. Halfway through the show,
Andrew Zarian was doing cryptic tweets about it, people imminent. Like him love to do. I love that.
Yeah, he tweeted imminent. Yeah, I think.
I urge people to our friend Ryan Frederick was playing an obscure tweet game too. And, yeah. We'll see what happens.
Steven makes a really good point that September is winter in Australia. So if they want a stadium show, it has to be a different time of year. Yes, that's right, because they're about to go into springtime because
February is summer for them.
Yep.
Because it's on the bottom part of the earth.
Oh, good. Saraya is here. Yay.
Well, I'm not going to say
maybe this is her last show before she goes to WWE, since her contract's almost up. But then I watch WWE, so I'll get stuck with her over there.
But at least you're getting paid.
This is true.
You're not going to be you're watching her and
I just want her and her boyfriend to go away forever.
AEW is your fun. I love you wrestling. Not you're I get paid to watch it. Right. I mean, you do.
I know. I have a friend who primarily watches WWE, and she was like, "Please do not send Saraya back to us." She was like, "I just want her and her trash ass boyfriend to go away." Because her boyfriend was being transphobic again on Twitter 3 days ago. So
lovely. Yay. But the good news is that Scott and Kilo will be able to bury her every week in their beautiful and lovely ways that they do. So. And we'll give them wonderful content. I mean, those are the content. I like to look on the Mike Gilbert side of life and just say that's a lot of content for people that are doing that.
This is true. No, Venkin, she was not announced on 0 Hour. There's a rumor she's going to do. We talked about it. I don't know if you were here yet when we were talking about it. There's been a rumor for the last few days that Saraya is announcing an open challenge. And some people think that's going to be Jamie Hayter. We have speculated possibly it being Emmy. And then there is the outside rumor that's been going around that Becky Lynch is showing up today. And that would be
crazy.
a way to bring her in because of the stuff, because of the story, the not storyline, the history with Paige. I just hope maybe it'll be regardless. Hopefully it's a squash and Saraya loses and she's gone. But I don't know when her contract is up. But I hope it's soon, and she takes her stupid boyfriend with her, and her boyfriend stops making money off of the theme song that she uses.
Yeah.
So we're not going to end this on a bad note.
No, we need
what
to
do
come
you
up with
think
some...
what do you think is what is going to be your match of the night?
It's Mariah and Tony is what I'm looking most for. I'm just excited. There's a real story there. That storyline, where it's going next, the possibilities, the fact that the women are getting, even Dave Meltzer is over for the women right now. Like, for really, really comparing them to his favorite time in women's wrestling now. Like, yay. It's honestly the main event's great and it's going to be an awesome match. It's kind of my...
Wait, is it Hayter? Is she there? What is happening? I see Hayter in the comments.
Nikki just said Hayter.
Somebody just yelled Jamie Hayter in all caps. Is she answering Saraya?
Well,
our comments are on a delay, so it takes a second for us to to see things. So that's why
supposed to be there. Says
no, but the text group said that I just saw the group chat just went off with Jamie Hayter. I guess. Okay, we're getting yeses in the chat. Jamie Hayter is there
coming
right
out
now. Okay,
all
so
right, then.
if our views drop off, we get it. We're only going to be here for a few more minutes. Before you leave, though, make sure you come back at 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. There will be an all-in post show with Kevin, Ely, and friends. So before you leave to go watch Jamie Hayter, make sure you come back at 6:15 and come see
visit
them.
Kevin.
Talk about Jamie Hayter some more.
You don't get to see Kevin very often. The post shows are always fun. I think he's got, like, Jeremy and Jeff might be floating around. You might get some other friends from Fight Game Media. He's been doing the post shows for this kind of stuff, and they've been a ton of fun. I popped into the last one.
They are fun.
Really cool. And then today, for East Coasters, it's like 6:15. It's not like 3 a.m. It's 6:15 in the evening. And for you West Coasters, it's like lunchtime or whatever. I don't know. No, it'll be 3:00. But regardless, check that subscribe.
Is Jamie winning this match? Because
what
are we doing here? What are we doing here if Jamie comes back and is losing? Wow. But I assume because it's her opponent, it's their story, but whatever. So we'll wrap this up. We were wrapping it up anyway. Match of the night. Yeah, I agree. That's probably going to be, maybe I'm a little biased because that's the match I'm looking forward to the most is Tony versus Mariah. But I think that, for me, I think it's just going to be match of the night. I think there's going to be, I think that Swerve Danielson will be very good regardless of the outcome. Just match quality, really I think will be really good. I do think Ospreay versus MJF will be good.
Yeah, I was just going to say my other one would be Ospreay versus MJF because MJF, when he has to wrestle, is actually a wrestler. So
right. And he has to elevate himself to Will Ospreay's level, which I will say that promo the other night, like most MJF promos, took way too long to get to the point. But when we got to that point where he said, everybody loved me until you showed up, he nailed that.
With that.
Perfect. He should have just ended it there. But then he had to MJF it up and be like, I told your wife the next time she gets pregnant, you're not going to be the dad. And I was like, why the fuck did you do that?
I hate that.
You just undid everything.
That made me so mad.
I hate that. And so
that one even made me mad. And usually I'm kind of like a duck with it for the most part. So if it gets if it gets a cringe for me, because I just don't listen, I have a filter. I've worked around so many kinds of different people in so many different fields, especially with parents and all of their different points of views. And I, have their kids' best interests at heart, but it's different for everyone. And with those people, But so if it gets like into my cringe zone, you messed up.
It's just
I give people a wide berth.
Him and Max Caster like go back and forth with who's going to be the most edgelord. And again, I've said it before. If MJF goes for the low hanging fruit, then Max Caster goes for the rotted fruit on the ground.
It's not even edgelordy because it's like you're gross. not even like it's like the worst. It's like
it's the worst of the worst, especially when we have
a 14-year-old edgelord is what it is.
Well, it's that we're only a few years removed from speaking out. You have Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis in WWE under a lawsuit currently. Like, let's just not do that.
Well, and wrestling has a bad something.
If that is the best you can do as a heel, then you are not a very good heel.
Kevin Sullivan just died, and they were talking about he booked his own divorce. That's like the infamous "I booked my own divorce" thing. Like,
true.
Wrestling's not like that anymore. We want to get rid of that stigma.
We're
and you of all people, I know it's because he's an old school heel. Bob is always constantly, he's like, it's because he's an old school heel. I'm like, I don't care.
I get it. I understand, but you can update certain things about it, which is not to rely on shit like that. Just like the whole the whole thing. That's one of the reasons I can't stand I don't like what they've done with the Iron Savages, because they lean heavily, and the premier athletes do it too. It's the tired old, you're fat and you're lazy. So those are the worst possible thing you could be is fat. And so we're gonna make fun of, like, it's lazy, and I can't stand it.
It's exactly right. I was gonna say, as someone whose other Carney friends have to make witty, intelligent shows to make a living, and they really do a great job of not using, like, one of my favorite things one of my performer friends said is he has a whole joke about consent is sexy. And it's fantastic. And I mean, and he's older, and he's been in the business like my entire life, and his jokes are way more on point and funny about that stuff.
I'm sure. Okay, apparently we are being told that the trios match is starting the show.
Well, that's all right. We're gonna
get you out of here. Thanks for hanging with us. We made it under 2 hours, which we weren't sure if we could do. It's been a very long time since we've done that. Again, if you missed the comments, make sure that you come back here at 6:15 Eastern time for Kevin Ely and friends to do their post stuff. You can talk about Jamie Hayter coming back. Maybe we get Ricochet. Maybe Jon Moxley does wrestle. Maybe we get some other surprises. We'll come back if Tony Khan announces the new WBD deal. So there's all kinds of things. So make sure you are back with that. You come chat with them.
They're gonna have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, they are. And then we will be back next Sunday at our regular time of 1 p.m. Eastern, and we will deal with some of the fallout of today and the rest of the shows in between. And we will see you next week.
Yes. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yay.